Okay, what I've got here today is a pickup, and the wires that connected to the back came loose. Originally I was using this ring to mount the pickups, and that's a single coil and a double coil slot, and a humbucker slot. So when you put this single coil in there, there's these gaps and you can see down into the hole. So I went online and I ordered this. I think it cost me $2 or $3, and it's a single coil plate that fits it right into the double coil slot, which is exactly what I needed. Looks better, I think. But in the meantime, when I was taking this off and putting this on, the wires on the back snapped loose. I guess I was pulling too hard or something. Didn't think about it. Now this pickup is a Ibanez Q series, I believe, and it was given to me. And there were a couple issues when I got it. There was no way to connect. So what I had done is figured out how to connect some wires. At this point here it says hot, cold, and ground. I had wired the cold and ground together with one wire, soldered them together. I'd soldered another wire onto the hot. Worked great. And there was a little clip here that I soldered onto, which I don't have right now to show you. It's in the guitar still, but came off. Now this whole thing was covered in some kind of wax, and I believe I probably could scrape that loose. I can see a little copper under there. I probably could solder back onto there, but there's another option. Up here there's a white wire and a black wire, and the white wire says hot and the black wire says cold, and when I test them, they're active. They work very well. But there's no ground there. Typically the ground would be connected to the outside somewhere and connected into your cold wire, and that works just fine, but it's not there. So I got the idea to take it apart and see what's going on inside, because I thought, well, maybe I could just wire a ground to the outside here, run the wire over, connect it to the cold, everything would be fine. But I want to know what's going on inside there. Maybe there's some better way to do it. I get a little nervous taking these things apart, because who knows, but let's do it. Now you'll see these bolts here, these screws are quite big and bulky, and they look a little funky. But another issue with this pickup was the holes here weren't working with standard screws. I made bigger holes and I had to use bigger bolts. When I used bigger bolts, the springs didn't fit on these bolts. So as you can see, there's something right there. Went to a fish tank store where they sell aquariums, and I bought this tubing and cut a little piece. Now if you get the piece too long, it'll bunch up too much. If you get it too short, there'll be too much play. So you get it the right length, try it a few times. And once you get your height set, you pretty much don't change it anyway. Usually you're happy with the height, but you want to be able to adjust it. So it's one of those things where you want to be able to change the height, but once it's where you want it, you're never going to change it again. So it's a lot of work to get that option, but it's worth it in the end. So you can try that. You can just use some of this tubing. Works quite well. It's not as springy as a spring. Now the other thing is, when I take these off here, that little piece of tubing doesn't stretch out again like a spring would do. It's kind of set. It's kind of set with those kinks in it. So if I actually wanted to change that, I would have to cut another piece. This stuff is so cheap, so I don't care about that. So anyway, let's go ahead. I'm going to take this apart. You can see what I'm talking about. I really like that cover. It looks good. Fits well. It's much better than having this. These are both metal. I prefer to go with metal. I was told by a pickup expert who builds pickups that having metal rings or mounting plates does not affect the sound versus, plastic or whatever. But then people will argue that having a cover on your pickup does change the sound. You know, some pickups are uncovered. That one's loose. Okay, so what you can see here, these tubes come off really easy. They fit pretty snug. And as you can see, they don't expand again like a spring would do. So I like this approach. It works very well. Some people sell pickups with tubes instead of springs. But, you know, it doesn't expand, so your height is more or less set. But that's okay. Moving on. Now, what I noticed looking at this is there are 2 screws here and here. At one point, I had tried to solder over them because I was trying to make a mounting plate for attaching the old size of screw. And that idea failed, so then I just cut a bigger hole. So I don't know if these will come off. That one works pretty easy. Don't lose those. This one has solder on the tip. No access. Yeah. May have to go desolder these. I call it a clip. It's got 3 pins. And somehow that fit inside the back here into this material. And the other 3, you can see 2 of them are soldered together. That's where I had the cold in the ground, and this other pin was for the hot. So that came off. I'm going to try a different method, but I want to open this up first. So I had to take off this plate. I had to take off these screws. Well, at one point, I was trying to use the older size, and they were just slipping right through the hole. Smaller size, standard size. So I was trying to solder something across these 2 screws. And in the end, it didn't work out very well, but it was fun to try. Now, these screws have solder on them, so I had to go desolder these. All you do is you heat them up, and then you just tap them on something or suck the solder off. So anyway, I'm almost ready to open this up. Let's finish. Try not to lose any of those or this, because it's all interesting and useful. Don't know what I'll find inside here. Here we go. Is that the solution or not? Doesn't open. Doesn't open at all. Is it just tight? Or do I have 2 more screws that I need to loosen? It's a risk, because I don't know what those are going to loosen up. Well, let's go ahead and try it. This whole thing was free. I like it. I want to keep it, but let's find out. Experiment. Ooh, that's a long screw. It could be holding down the bobbin inside there that has wire wrapped around it. I don't know. Or it could be holding down this cover. All right, finally, here we go. Still really tight. Is it stuck? Now there are these Allen posts that can be adjusted the height of, but I doubt that's attached to this. I think it's just tight. We have to pry it open. Let me get a tool for that. Among other choices, I decided I'll go with this small screwdriver. Should fit right in here. I believe there's a lot of wax on this thing. Wax keeps the humidity out and so on. Oh, came right off. Just had to pry at it. Now, did I just break it permanently? Good thing I pried that end. because that end does nothing seriously damaging. This end, like I had hoped, this end has some wires in it going to hot and cold. What's interesting inside here is the magnets. There's a long magnet on one side and a short magnet on the other side. These things don't hum, even though they're single coils. I never had any problem with the hum. But you can also tell that the wrapping is only about half the depth there. Because this goes in quite far here. Yeah, and those are all magnetized poles, and that's a magnet, and that's a magnet. Okay, so that's all good to know. So my question is, how do I attach to the cold and ground at the same time? And there's not much to see on this side. I don't know if I can show you that. There's not much to see there. There's just two wires coming out. One is the start, one is the finish. One is labeled hot and one is cold. Black and white. Black is the cold. White is the hot, which is how I normally do it too. And I don't see any wire connecting to the ground, the outside. So maybe it's internally in here. But I seriously had an option here to separate my cold and my ground. So what were these things doing? They worked. They worked fine. And these two work fine too when I test them. Now, this was given to me for free. And I like to keep it and use it. But you're always wondering in the back of your mind, why was it free? Was there something about it? I think at this point I am going to stop. I'm not going to wreck it. Or risk wrecking it. But the question still remains, if I connect to the hot and the cold, how do I get my ground? There is foil on either end that would touch the outside of the pickup. And so then how does that get to the ground wire? Is there a wire in here possibly underneath? It almost looks like there might be a wire under here. I can't really see or tell. Definitely don't want to break it at this point. Okay, so the outside definitely grounds to these little pieces of foil. There are layers of tape or something here which I don't want to remove. There may be wires underneath there. It's really hard to say. It's interesting though. I'm glad I took it apart. So what I'm going to do is put it back together very, very carefully, very neatly. Should be able to just do that and then screw it down. This side fits. This side's a little bulky because of those wires. Feed that wire into the right location. Get down there. Get down there. Yeah, that worked. Just push and turn. Turn and push. So I'm going to put that back together. I know my hot and cold work. I'm just worried about, is it still going to be grounded? So I'm thinking what I'll do is maybe just rough up the side here, attach a ground wire there, run it over to my cold. Should be fine. Same 8K, 7.99. So I know I put it back together right. Everything's working out. The final test will be to play it and see how it sounds. All right, take it easy.